Thanks. All right, I'm commenting on what the brother said about only one king being saved. Was
Right.
King Nebuchadnezzar in the time of Babylon?
Right.
Let's not forget Cyrus in the time of Nehemiah and Ezra. All right. And let's not forget King Darius in the time of Daniel. And also in Persia, Esther's husband, King Ahasuerus. They also accepted the message.
Amen. Amen. Thank you very much for pointing that out.
Amen, sister.
Very, very important for us to understand and to be reminded. Thank you very much, Sister Trish. All right, so good. We're having a wonderful study so far. So let us now go a little further and dig a little deeper. So we're going to use the Bible now to solidify what we have found in history. And then, if time permits, how much time do I have left, by the way? If time permits, I will go into what the United States represents in these last days. Time check.
Would it be fair to say, Sheldon, that King Nebuchadnezzar, hearing me?
I'm hearing you. I'm with you.
That King Nebuchadnezzar is the only man whose words have entered the Bible of all the kingdom.
That is fair to say, yes.
Yeah.
King Nebuchadnezzar is the only man's word has entered the Bible.
I mean. But even what did Darius say? As the God of gods. And that all
right, so we're going to continue. All right. So we're going to go and look at the book of Daniel. So we're going to solidify what we found in history a while ago from the Bible. Are we following? Let me know if you're still with me, if you're seeing the screen, if you're hearing.
Yes, I'm hearing.
Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. All right, so we're going to start in Daniel chapter 8, which Brother Sylvester went through this morning. Are we following? All right, so we're going to pick it up. Let's pick it up from verse 2. Let's start from verse 1. In the 3rd year of the reign of King Belshazzar, a vision appeared unto me, even unto me, Daniel, after that which appeared unto me at the first. So here he's getting a subsequent vision. So he's saying that which appeared after that which appeared unto me at the first. So this is another vision. So this is not his first vision. But we're seeing that it's a vision. And once we go into vision, we're talking about, let's see if we're following. Once we start talking about vision, we're going to go and look at now.
Symbols.
What are we looking at? I heard somebody.
Symbolism.
Symbolism. We're looking at symbols and figures. So let's follow. Then I lifted up mine eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns. And the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other. And the higher came up last. So we're seeing here symbols. I saw the ram pushing westward, and this is just the conquest of the ram. We're not going into that. Verse 5. And as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. So that's another symbol there. I'm going to read down to about verse 11. And then just to get some symbols, and then we're going to read what comes afterwards. So I'm at verse 6. And he came to the ram which had two horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in the fury of his power. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram, and brake his two horns. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him, but he cast him down to the ground and stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Therefore the he goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, for it came up four notable ones towards the four winds of heaven. And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great towards the south, towards the east, and towards the pleasant land. And it waxed great even to the host of heaven, and cast it down, and it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them. Verse 11, which is where I'm going to stop for this one. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. So here we're seeing a lot going on, but really what we're seeing is succession of kingdoms, the same as was described earlier. So let's go down. Have we any questions at this point? Any comments? I saw Brother Eddie open up his mic a while ago.
What happened, Pastor, that I got a cut off, and I wasn't getting nothing at all on the screen. I wasn't hearing anything, so I don't know how far you start back from.
Oh, I read just now from Daniel chapter 8, verses 1 through to 11. Did
Okay.
anybody else experience that cut off? Or was it flowing? Sister Lisa?
Flowing.
Flowing.
Pardon?
Did you experience the cut off as well?
Yes, I did.
Oh.
I
You were anybody else?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I don't. So I read down to just to point out, I read from Daniel chapter 8, verses 1 through to 11. And I'm gonna go back in. And we're gonna look at the interpretation of the vision now, of the symbols in the vision. Because we're in vision, so we're looking at symbols. So we saw a couple of symbols here. We saw a ram, we saw a goat, and then we saw a little horn came up. So just remember those: the ram, goat, little horn, and there were different horns there as well. So it's important for us to keep that in mind. All right, so I'm going to read from verses 15 and 16. And it came to pass, when even I, Daniel, had seen the vision and sought for the meaning, then behold, there stood before me as the appearance of a man. So Daniel received the vision, but he himself didn't understand the symbolisms in the vision. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of Uli, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. So Gabriel came now to explain and to give Daniel understanding of the symbolisms in the vision. And I'm going to just jump down to 20. The ram which thou sawest having horns, two horns, are the kings of Media and Persia, which would be the kingdom of silver that we looked at earlier. So we're looking at the silver kingdom right here. Kingdom of what? Medes and the Persians. Verse 21, and the rough goat is the king of Grecia, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. So when Greece conquered Medo-Persia, who was the first ruling king? It was Alexander the Great when Greece became a world power. He's not the first king of Greece overall, but when Greece became a world power, dominant power, Alexander the Great was the one that led Greece to that position. So the first king, which we have seen from history, must be Alexander the Great. So the great horn we can identify as Alexander the Great. Verse 23. Oh, so somebody, any questions? I see some people open up their mics. Brother Marvin, any questions or comments from your side? All right, so we'll
Not for
continue.
now, not for now.
Not for now. Wonderful. All right. Verse 23. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up. And his power shall be mighty, but not of his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. So here we see this persecuting power that destroys God's people coming again. So this is a religious power now that's coming to the fore. Verse 25, and through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify. So he's magnifying himself in his heart, thinking he's God, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall do what? Be broken without hands. In Daniel chapter 2, it says, the stone that was cut out without hands shall smite the kingdom of iron and clay mixed together. So it's the same kingdom that's being described here. The Bible is so accurate, and we saw that in Daniel chapter 2. It's now being corroborated again in Daniel chapter 8, and history has already proven to us what we're looking at. So we're seeing things are just falling into place now. So we know that this that we're looking at is the Roman power, the power of Rome in the last days, right? And if we go to Daniel chapter 7, it will tell us the exact same thing. So I'm going to go to the book, because as we studied last evening, that when you're studying symbols in the Bible, the symbols will appear at different places in the Bible, and to truly fully understand a symbol, you have to bring everywhere in the Bible where the symbols are, you have to go and research them and bring them together, and then you have the true and full understanding of the symbol. So we have to use the rules of Bible study that we're looking at, and we went through rules 6 through 14 in Bible study last night, and we're now applying the rules, understanding symbols, figures, parables, and how we're putting them together, because you have to understand how to interpret the symbols that we're reading. And when we're going to look at symbols, like when we're looking at a parable or a vision, we're going to be using figurative or symbolic language. All right, so let us now go. We're going to go. You're not seeing my screen, sorry. Revelation chapter 13. Revelation chapter 13. And this is the point on which I will close out our study for this afternoon. So Revelation 13, and I'm going to be picking up from verse 1. And in order to understand this, it would be best, let's go, before we just stick a finger, just put your finger on Revelation 13, and let's go to Daniel chapter 7 before we do. Because there are some symbols there that it would help us to understand better if we read Daniel chapter 7 first. So we're reading Daniel chapter 3. So we know that he's in a vision. Verse 1, says he's in vision. Verse 2 says he's in vision. So I'm just going to pick it up from verse 3. And 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. So we're seeing 4 great beasts here. 4 great beasts. The first was like a lion. Please write that down. First beast was like a lion and had eagle's wings, and I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. Verse 5, and behold, another beast, a second. So we're looking at the second beast now, like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh. Verse 6, after this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard. So this is a third beast now, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. And the beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. We're seeing similar symbolisms here as what we saw in with the 4 heads being Daniel 8 verse 9. That kind of lines up with that. Verse 7, no, Daniel 7:7. After this I saw in night visions, and behold, a 4th beast. So you're seeing a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible and exceeding strong, and it had great iron teeth. So this is the iron beast that we saw. It's linking back to Daniel chapter 2. The iron beast, it now has iron teeth, and it devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it. It was diverse from all the beasts before it, and it had 10 horns. So we're seeing now this beast with 10 horns coming into the picture. And I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the root. So here we're seeing when this beast arises, it gets totally eliminates 3 horns, and behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking what? Great things. This one now, it speaks great things. It lifts up, it magnifies itself. So we're seeing that this here is lining up with what we have seen to be the attributes of Rome, or the Iron Kingdom. It breaks in pieces. It's iron. It breaks in pieces. So we're seeing a persecuting power, but we're also seeing one that is, and it always persecutes God's people. And we're seeing one that speaks great things. It blasphemes. All right. So let's look at what a beast is. I'm just scrolling down. Further down in Daniel, I'm going to pick it up from verse 17. Just so that we're clear. Prophetic interpretation, whenever a symbol is given, sometimes the understanding of the symbol is further down in the same passage that you're reading. Sometimes you have to look at another place. In this one, fortunately for us, the symbol is explained further down in the same passage. Verse 17 explains what the beasts are. So we saw 4 beasts. It says, these great beasts, which are 4 kings which shall arise out of the earth. So these are 4 kingdoms, 4 world powers, 4 political powers that we're talking about here, which we have already identified all 4 from Daniel chapter 2 and even in Daniel chapter 8. So it's just repeating and giving more information here. Reading verse 19, then I would know the truth of the 4th beast. So Daniel took a particular interest in the 4th beast, which was diverse from all the others. So this 4th beast was different from the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, which is the Iron Kingdom, and whose nails are of brass, the Brass Kingdom. So we're seeing that this fourth beast incorporates aspect of the previous beasts, which devoured, break in pieces, and stamp the residue with his feet. Verse 20. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, so it had 10 horns, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that speak very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. So this one is pumping up itself. So I think we have made the point. I think it's important for us to point out verse 25 as well, just to make this point, to solidify, talking about this horn that we're talking about now. Let's read from verse 24 so you follow. And the 10 horns out of his head are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first ones, and shall subdue 3 kings. So this king that came up shall get rid of or eliminate 3 kingdoms. Verse 25, and he shall speak great words against the Most High. He's blaspheming. And he shall wear out the saints of the Most High. He's persecuting the saints of God. He's after the saints of God. And think to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time. So we're seeing here that this particular beast will rule for a time period. And that's important for us to understand, that this beast that we're talking about is going to rule for a time period. So just before we go to Revelation 13, does anybody have any questions or comments at this point?
I have a question, Brother Sheldon.
Sure.
Is this little horn still ruling now?
That's a good question. That's what we're gonna get. We're gonna get into that. But the easy answer is yes.
Okay.
But we're gonna prove it from the scriptures. So Revelation 13 is gonna help us to understand Sister Lisa's question. Revelation 13 and verse 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise out of the sea. What is a beast again? Before we move on, just quickly, somebody just tell us what is a beast so that we are all on the same page.
Kingdom.
Kings.
A king or kingdom.
Yeah.
Perfect. Good. So then here now, John is writing under inspiration, said he stood on the sand of the sea and saw another kingdom pretty much rising, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Remember we said that God usually repeats the symbolisms, but he gives more information as he goes along. So what we're seeing here now is the same beast that we saw in Daniel chapter 7 that had 10 horns. We're seeing the same kingdom again now, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy, the same blasphemous power that we saw in Daniel chapter 7. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard. Did we see a leopard back in Daniel chapter 7? A leopard beast. Talk to me.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
And his feet were the feet of a bear. Did we see a bear?
Yes.
And his mouth was the mouth of a lion. Did we see a lion?
Yes.
Perfect. So what we're seeing is that this fourth beast that Daniel didn't really describe that much, John is describing now, saying that this fourth beast has attributes of the 3 beasts that came before it. So this Roman kingdom that we're looking at had attributes of Babylon, had attributes of Medo-Persia, and it had attributes of Grecia or Greece. Are we seeing that?
Yes.
Yes.
Wonderful. And it says, and the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. So when this beast was set up, this particular kingdom was set up to represent to where it is the height of its power in 538. It got its seat, its power, and its great authority, which it received at different points in time. I'm gonna just write them, give you some dates now. That's for a future study, just so you have some information. So it received its seat. It received its seat in the year 330 AD. It received its power in the year 496 AD, and it received great authority in the year 533 AD. I'm just giving you those. We can go and dig deeper into it. I just want you to have those as a base, or you can do your own study, which would be good for next Sabbath for you to come and give us some information based on what you have found based on your study. All right, I see Brother Fagan's hand. 1 second. Go ahead. Brother Fagan, not yet. Let's hear Sister Claudine.
No, I was saying I wanted you to repeat. He received this seat and his power in give us the time period
Right.
again,
So he received
please.
this seat in the year 330 AD. He received this power in the year 496 AD, and he received this great authority in the year 533 AD. And then you go do your own research as to how those dates relate to the papacy or to the Bishop of Rome, and then we talk about that next Sabbath. Brother Fagan.
Okay.
Yes, just a point of note here. When you were going through Daniel earlier, we didn't have a name for the fourth beast because it was like a nondescript beast. The description was there, but we didn't have a name for it. They have the bear for Babylon, you have the lion for Babylon, we had the bear for Media Persia, and we had the
leopard,
ram, the he-goat for Grecia. But if we look at Revelation now, we still have a name for the fourth beast, which is a dragon. So I just wanted to point that out.
All right, wonderful. Right? So now we're seeing, I usually just refer to this one as the composite beast, meaning it comprises all the things that were before it. He just took all the attributes and just made them into one conglomerate, composite type of deal. Right? Another symbolism that's important first. No, let's continue because I want to get through and get to the point where I'm trying to get to. There's so much here that we can go into and will take us into different directions that I want to stay on track. Right? So if you have a question, please ask just the same. But if not, then we just press on until we wrap up this segment. All right, perfect. I will just continue. Verse 3, I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. So this beast that we're talking about received some damage, significant damage at some point, but it recovered from the damage. Verse 4, and they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. So when you're worshiping the beast, you're essentially worshiping the dragon. That's exactly how this power is set up. It is set up to channel your worship and adoration to the dragon. So if you're worshiping the beast, you're worshiping the dragon. Who is the dragon? We're not going to go into that. Write it down. And they worship the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? Please note, I want to go cover all the different symbols and points, but I want to point out why Rome is still at the forefront, even though some people are saying it's the United States. So that's what I'm coming to this chapter to point out. There's a lot that I'm skipping over, but that's the purpose of me coming here now. There will be a point where we can go through this chapter and fillet it open and make all the connections and expound on all the different symbols, but that's not the point right now, even though we're going to get a lot from it nonetheless. Verse 5, and there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemy. So he's revealing himself again. We know that he's this pompous beast this exalting beast, and powers given unto him to continue 42 months. This is important. So I want to just jump back into Daniel chapter 7, and I'm going to go to verse 23. 25, verse 25. And if we realize here, and he shall speak great words against the Most High. So that's one, speak great words. So it's great words, blasphemy again, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, persecute the saints, and shall think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand time and times and the dividing of time. So if there's a time period given here in Daniel chapter 7. Let's go back to Revelation 13, and I think that's verse 5. And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, one, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months, time period. Verse 6, and it says, and he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. So it's a blasphemous power. Verse 7, and it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, just like we read in Daniel 7:25 a while ago. So we're reading about the same power. So what basically we can now make the assumption, because we're not going to substantiate it here, that 42 months and times, and the dividing of time represent the same thing. We're going to make that, not going to substantiate it right now, but you can see that connection there. And power was given over all kindred, tongues, and nations. So this is a world dominant power we're talking about, a world power. I'm going to skip down. I'm going to finish reading down. And all that dwell on the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the earth, of the world. So everyone whose names are not in the book of the life of the Lamb will worship the beast. Meaning, is either your name is in the book of life of the Lamb, or you're worshiping the beast. There's no other way around it. It's either black or white. Yes or no. It's either the Lamb or the beast. Because it's all about worship. It's about allegiance. To whom do you pledge your allegiance? The Lamb or to the beast? That's what it comes down to. Verse 9, if any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and faith of the saints. We're now going to talk about a different power. Still not a lot that I'm going to be able to cover, because I'm wrapping up now. This is the last couple of verses I'm going to look at. And maybe I'm going to make some statements now, make notes, then we will get to substantiate them in a further study. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. So it's important for me to explain now that initially in verse 1, John said he saw a beast come out of the sea. Now this second beast is coming up out of the earth. Are we seeing that in this vision? So, pardon me, in chapter 13, the first beast that he saw came out of the sea. And sea represents densely populated areas, multitudes, nations, tongues. And you can find that substantiated all over. Revelation chapter 17 makes that clear. So then coming up out of the earth would represent a beast that's coming up out of a scarcely or sparsely populated area of the planet. And that beast that's coming up here, based on our understanding, it said, and he had two horns like a lamb, meaning it was a Christian nation. How do we know the lamb represents Christ? John 1 verse 29. Let's just jump there just to solidify this one quickly. John 1 verse 29. And the next day, John see Jesus coming unto him and say, behold the Lamb of God which taketh away the sin of the world. So I just quick, because this is not what I'm studying out, but I just wanted to make that quick point just for those who have the question in their mind. So the lamb here is a symbol of Christ. So it had two horns like a lamb. and he spake as a dragon. So we're seeing that this nation starts off being a Christian nation, but eventually would lose its bearings and start to be controlled and speak and put out policies and laws like the dragon, like Satan, like the enemy. The dragon is, in a primary sense, representative of Satan. You can find that in Revelation chapter 12 and verse 9. You just make those notes. So let's continue looking. We're looking at the second beast. So we've identified so far, not 100%, but to a great degree, that this second beast that we're looking at here is the United States of America. It started off as a Christian nation, but then it would shift along the way, and it came out of a sparsely populated area. When anybody remember back in when you were learning history, and you learned about Columbus. Where did Columbus say they were going? They were going to the New World, because all the population, the density of population was in Asia and Europe. So then the population on this side of the world was not as dense. America at that time was not. America started as a country, as a nation in the year 1776. So we're talking about a place where there was not a lot of people as it is today. So the sparsely populated area that we're talking about is the New World or the United States. So there, in the New World, there would be a power that rises in the New World, which is the United States of America. So let's continue. Verse 12. And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him. So that is why Brother Tate said the United States is the world power. And that is why Brother Olaine said that this beast, the United States, has the attributes of Rome. But let's continue, because the Bible explains it. And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, which is the Roman papacy, and caused the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. So the purpose of the United States now is to put everyone back to worshiping the first beast. So even though the United States is, in our view, the world power, it is there for one reason, and that one reason is to bring worship back to the first beast, or to turn our minds back to Rome. Let's continue. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by the sword and did live. So this is the United States pushing the agenda of making an image to the papacy. So that is why I said earlier that the United States is the central figure, central part of the image of the beast. So the image of the beast is going to be centered around the United States of America. And what is an image is to do exactly what the original did. An image is just a copy. So the image of the beast is going to do what the original beast did. So everything is all set up that the beast will still be in power, but the United States would be an image of the beast, mimicking whatever the beast did. So I'm here and I'm making motions now, and I'm seeing an image on the screen of myself. So the image is doing what I want it to do. So the image of the beast is going to carry out the will of the beast. I hope we understand that. Verse 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So this beast and the image of the beast is going to force worship. It's going to force worship. Everybody that worships the image of the beast is really worshiping the beast, is really worshiping Satan. So it's going to force. When it says cause, there's only one way to cause someone to do something if they don't want to do it willfully. You do it by force. You do it by law, and if they don't follow, you enforce the law with military power. Verse 16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. So this is the mark of the beast that we're talking about. Verse 17, and no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So this is where I will end the study for this Sabbath evening. I hope you were blessed. I hope a lot of questions were answered, and I hope you have also even more questions which will prompt you to do deeper studies and deeper research. Again, I did that for a reason, just to prove that we have found from Daniel chapter 2. Let me bring back that the image. Let's get back the image on screen here as I just wrap up. So we're seeing the image again. So this is the image, and we're seeing Babylon, Medo Persia, Greece, Rome. Then we have Papal Rome, which is the papacy which received the deadly wound in 1798. And then we have the image of the beast, which will be United States will be the central to that. And the purpose of the United States being central to that is to force. I mean, they're essential to setting up the image of the beast from based on the Bible, and they're gonna empower a new world organization or a new world order, which will have the papacy as its head, and the papacy will again regain dominance and will become the ruling power on earth, which we already see the image of the beast being set up or is fully set up, and that shows us where we are in the timeline of prophecy. We're somewhere, we're obviously we're in the feet of iron and clay, and I believe we're closer to the toes in that prophecy. We're actually in the toes, just that things are not fully changed over as yet, because the events that they're looking for to force that to happen has not yet taken place. And I think what we're seeing, even with the coronavirus here now, is something that we should pay attention to, because this will pave the way, and this is like training ground for him to understand how to manipulate the people and how much power they have over people. See, they have us all on lockdown. They understand how much power they have. And I think this is gonna be like a test run for them, so that when the right crisis comes, they will have solutions which will bring about the the uh the mark of the beast, which we, from those who have been studying prophecy, which is enforced Sunday worship. Not just Sunday worship, but enforced Sunday worship, when we're forced to choose between the true Sabbath of God and worshiping on Sunday, which is the mark of the papacy or the mark of the beast. So here's where I will end. Again, hope you were wonderfully blessed. And I will just close off with a quick word of, no, I don't know. Brother Leroy, see you're on. Would you mind closing us out in prayer? I unmute you. All right, you're on mute.
Let us pray. Oh Father, who art in heaven, thank you, Lord, for your Sabbath. Thank you for your blessings. Thank you for the spoken words. We thank you, Lord, for the sure words of prophecy that you are teaching unto as on the light in a dark place. We thank you for preserving our lives, Holy God. For without you, we would never be able to live or have a being. Because you're the life, like our souls, we are here alive, O Lord. We thank you for all the brethren who have participated in the messages, the discussions, the Bible studies, who have been praying for one another. We thank you, Lord, for the family of faith. We pray that you will help us, O Lord, step in faith, to angels, messages, O Lord. We will be who are symbolical reference as angels. We angels of light in this dark world. We bless our children, protect them, O Lord, from evil and evil spirit. Cover them, O Lord, under the light, Shekinah glory, Lord. May the presence ever be on the doorpost of our hearts and our minds. We pray, Father, for your forgiveness of our sins, all our righteousness, for your cleansing, that you will continue to clean us up, O Lord. Help us, O Lord, to exhibit the graces, the character of Christ Jesus in the lives. This quarantine that we have on the Lord, which it has been helping us, O Lord, to draw closer to you and with one another. We pray that it will continue, Lord, to strengthen one another. Bless children, his wife, even bless the rest of our families. This evening we pray. Thank you, Lord, for hearing and answering our prayers. We pray in Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen. Sister Lee.
Yes, I'm here. Amen.
Oh, 1 second. I should have opened up for questions, but go ahead, Sister Lee.
Okay, we have, you want to do the questions first, Brother Sheldon? I was going to give a very short overview of the day's proceedings. Questions first, or you want me to go ahead? I didn't hear, I'm not hearing. My sound went, I didn't hear. Questions first?
My mic was mute. Questions first, yes.
Oh, questions first. Okay, I'll do the overview after. Okay.
Any questions or comments? Anything anybody would like to share? Sister Grace, Brother Eddie.
Yes, I want to say that this is a blessed day. It was a great day in Zion, even though we are not together physically, but I know spiritually we are together. And I just want to thank God for this day. And I want to ask Lord to continue to bless you guys as you continue in this fashion and to keep us close with his word. And that at the end, when he shall come, we all shall go home with him to spend eternity. God bless you all.
Amen. Any other questions or comments? All right, Sister Lee.
Yes, I have a question, Sheldon.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Brother Bobby.
When the scripture says that this lamb-like beast will speak like a dragon, is it that it's going to speak like Rome? Because Rome was the secondary application of the dragon, right?
Right.
So it eventually will make, because remember, Rome made laws. Rome was what? The first to pass the Sunday law, right?
Right.
So eventually America will speak like Rome.
Pagan Rome.
Pagan Rome when they eventually pass the Sunday law. Papal Rome, rather. But it was pagan Rome that actually passed the law, right?
Right. Pagan Rome passed the law.
And then
in
Papal
321.
Rome, yeah, 321 AD. And then Papal Rome kind of backed it up. And then now America is going to speak like this dragon in terms of
Right.
laws. In terms of laws. In terms of laws, yeah.
Yes, so that's a good point, and it's important for us to highlight and clarify that when a nation speaks, it speaks through its laws and its policies. So it's important for us when we're talking about in the sense of a country speaks through its laws and policies. And what we're saying or seeing is that this entity will speak like a dragon in terms of the policies that it enforces and the laws that it puts in effect. And that's how it would speak and carry out the will of the dragon. Whatever the dragon wants, that's what it's going to put into legislation, which we understand that the enforced Sunday worship is going to be one of the main laws that they're going to put in effect. There are going to be many more that they will put in effect, but that is the main one, that is the essential one, because that's the one that they're after. Great point, Brother Bobby. Any other comments or questions?
Yes.
Sister Terry, I hear
Brother
you.
Sheldon. And under papal Rome,
Seems having maybe some connection issues.
the kingdom's coming down.
Sister Terry, a part of what you said was cut out.
I think it's connection issues she's having.
I figure as much. All right. We will, in the meantime, we'll move on, and if she comes back, great. It seems like we lost her. And she's back. So in the meantime, we'll take any other questions until things get sorted out.
Okay, Brother Sheldon.
Yes, Sister Lisa.
We have pagan first, then
Right.
papal. Am I
Right.
right?
You're right. You're right.
And there was the next one.
And then modern Rome.
Yes.
Which really is in essence is the New World Order.
Okay, I didn't get the meaning for pagan and papal, but I don't want you to tell me now because
that would take away from your studies.
No, because you don't have any more time. So just, letting you know that I would like to know the meaning.
All right, good. All right, so that is, I can quickly in a couple of seconds just talk about that. So
okay.
Pagan Rome is the legs of iron that we spoke about, which is the Roman powers when the Roman Empire took over and paganism was at the heart of its religious system. That was, if we read even Luke chapter 1, that was in the time of Jesus, when it says all the world came to give tribute to Caesar, to Augustus Caesar. So we know that that's pagan Rome ruling, but their belief system was pagan. Then papal Rome is Catholicism, which really is baptized paganism. So papal Rome is Catholicism or Roman Catholicism. So first you have pagan Rome. They were pagan in their beliefs. They believed they worship the sun. And then you had outwardly, and then you had Catholicism, which inwardly worships the sun. Just it's really sun worship, but just one is overt and the other is covert. So when we talk about the systems of popes, priests, and cardinals, that's the papal Rome. So I hope that answers your question, Sister Lisa.
Okay, thank you.
All right, wonderful.
Sheldon.
Yes, Brother Ole.
Is it like what's in England now? Is it like categorized as that?
Explain in terms of,
like, you know, in England you have the Pope, and you know he's one of those that is in power. So I'm wondering the modern version, if it takes place talking about that type of Rome, in which,
all
you
right.
know, and yes, this in today's time you have Roman Catholic. They are still in the region of England, Europe side. They are still there. So I'm wondering if they are one of the powers that's hiding, like still there, but in the background.
That is a great question. All right. So just to be clear, Roman Catholics are everywhere. They're even in Jamaica, right? They're gonna
Yeah.
be great. There are great, true, devout Roman Catholic people that are just this is what they know and understand, and they're doing their best with the information that they have. But what we're talking about is the hierarchy or the system of power in the Roman Catholic Church, where the Pope, whose seat is not in England, but it is in Rome, in Rome, in Italy, in the Vatican City. This is the power that we're talking about. So yes, it is very prominent in all of Europe, but it is everywhere in the world, not just Europe. It is, I mean, they have billions of followers, this religion, but a lot of the people are totally unaware of what's going on. Some are, but a lot of them are totally unaware that the Pope is really carrying out the orders. He has the seat, the power, and the authority of the dragon, which is the devil. So this is a monument that the Satan has created to seat himself to rule the world with all authority. This system, this gigantic system of false religion called Roman Catholicism. So even though it is a false religion, it's a false system, and I know that the enemy is using this system to get a foothold in the world. Not that does mean that every single individual that ascribes or calls himself a Roman Catholic understands what they're a part of, or even is party to the plans of the enemy. So I hope that answers your question well enough. But the fact is that the Pope, it wants to bring about the mark of the beast or the Sunday worship, so that forcing people away from worshiping on the true Sabbath of God to worshiping on Sunday. Enforced Sunday worship. So I hope that answers your question, my brother.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right, wonderful. All right, any other questions? All right, Sister Lee.
Okay, thank you, Brother Sheldon. I just want to take this opportunity to thank everyone for participating and for being on our Zoom call and on our YouTube link as well. I just want to take maybe 2 or so minutes to give a brief overview of what happened today. Well, we started a little late due to some problems that we had with our Zoom connection, but we got it sorted out. And Brother Jason Campbell led us in song service. Sister Lisa very ably did the welcome and fellowship. Sister Brittany Gordon did a great health presentation. She reminded us that in creation, God did not just create us as he did the animals, but he formed us with his hands and in his image and blew the breath of life in our nostrils. So we are special. She also touched on aspects of the 8 laws of health. Brother Sylvester was in charge of Sabbath school, and it was interactive. We got a lot of participation there. he continued on his study on the topic of the three angels' message, and we got a better understanding and the symbolic meanings of the symbols used, symbolic language used in the Bible. For example, beast means king or kingdom. We moved on to the children's focus, which was coordinated by Sister Davina McFarlane, where the children got a chance to participate in prayer, song, and sharing their experiences being home and out of school due to the COVID-19. Unfortunately, due to connection difficulties, some children were not able to join in order to share, but we hope we'll have it better next time. Our Divine Hour was presented by our hardworking brother Marvin Nelson, and the topic was the power of the stone, where he took us through many scripture passages to ably bring his point across, from Jacob and the pillar of stone to Elijah on Mount Carmel, where he used the 12 stones signifying the 12 tribes of Jacob, and to the stoning as a punishment for sin, and to the power of the stone, as we see in Daniel 2:45. Then Sister Fagan did a lovely special for us in music, and the morning session closed with an intercessory prayer by Brother Fagan. And for the afternoon, our Bible class was ably taken by Brother Sheldon. He took us through Daniel 2, an extensive study. We got a lot of homework to do. We have to go and do some research for ourselves to get a little better understanding. But it was a wonderful study, and it was also interactive. A lot of questions were asked and comments were made. He also lined it up with history to show that history agrees with the Bible. So it is proven that the Bible is correct. So with that, we ended our study for the day. And that is my little overview of what we did for the day. And once more, I thank everyone for participating. So I'll hand over back to, I don't know, Brother Sheldon, or is it Pastor?
All right, Sister Lee, thank you so much for navigating us through the program from morning until now. We appreciate your service. We are about closing off the day's activities. We're going to close off with the hymn 51. Day is dying in the west, and I think I have it here. So let me share it on screen. We will sing and then we close off with prayer. But just before we go to that, Sister Lee, let me just add to your overview. A special thanks to all who came on from all over the world to be with us today. Let me just quickly mention a few persons who are still on. We have here Brother Elder Ward and family. Good to have you. We were looking for you today to pray to close off divine service, but we realized you fell off, maybe we're having some difficulties there. Our dear sister from Atlanta, yes, seeing you on screen now. Remind me of your name, sis. Sister
Marcia Brown.
Sister Marcia, good to have you. And then we have Brother Eddie, faithful as usual in Aruba, Edwards, Alfonso Edwards, Sister Lisa in Aruba as well. Just say a quick hello, Brother Eddie. Just a quick hello.
Hi to everyone. God bless you. Have a pleasant week.
And Sister Lisa, we have heard your voice, Sister Lisa, but just a quick hello. Yes, good to have you. As usual, go ahead.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. God bless us all.
All right, Sister Lisa, blessings. Brother Fagan participated actively in the program today. And so we are getting accustomed to your voice, Brother Fagan. Just a quick, maybe wishing a good week or something. All right, Brother Fagan, go ahead.
Yes, my brother, much blessing, and it was a lovely day. And I've also been trying to get a few more folks to come on as well to get into this study. It's really interesting. God bless, Mr. Fagan, says third time.
Okay.
Have a blessed week, everybody. Nice hearing you guys again.
All right, Sister Fagan, blessings. All right, Sister Claudine. Sister Claudine, go ahead.
I'm here. Everyone. Yes, and I was something today. That has been good.
Amen.
And I've learned since Sabbath school with brother coming through with symbols, meaning back to the power of the stone, and into Sabbath, into Bible class with Brother Sheldon. It has been good.
Thank you so
Amen.
much. Thank you so much. Sister Debbie, quickly. Not gonna draw out much longer. Sister Debbie. All right, then we move to Sister Grace. Sister Grace, Sister Debbie in Aruba. All right. My mother, Sister Herman, quickly, just a quick one. Sister Thompson, ISN. All right. Brother Michael is on. Sister Nadine. Sister Nadine, just say a quick hello, Sister Nadine Chambers. Just a quick hello.
Hi, thank you guys for everything. Really enjoyed it and very enlightening. Have a blessed week.
Okay, we have Brother Natty as well, and Olane, and Sashoy, and somebody other the name Galaxy Tower. Maybe that is Brother Marvin. All right, so thanks for coming, everybody. Let's sing our closing hymn, and then we pray to close off. stars, the day, the night. Lord of angels on our eyes, let eternal morning rise and shadows end. Holy, 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 Lord God of